I poured years of grit into building my life. The Chicago condo, the hard-earned promotion, the crossover I saved meticulously for. But to my family, I was always second fiddle to my influencer sister. They diminished my wins, ignored my boundaries, and then crossed the ultimate line, selling my car while I was gone. They thought I'd just accept it. They underestimated how far betrayal could push me. This is how my fight back began. My name, Karen Miller, alone on the deed. The doorbell chimes, sending a familiar flutter of anxiety through my chest. They're here. I smooth my blouse and open the door, immediately met by my mother's critical gaze as she scans the entryway. Karen, darling. She air kisses near my cheek, the scent of her expensive perfume invading my space. Her eyes narrow at the modest decorations I've arranged. Couldn't you have hired an interior designer like Jessica uses? This place could have so much more personality. Dad steps in behind her, already checking his phone. Traffic was terrible. Is there parking validation? Ashley sweeps in last, designer sunglasses perched on her head, phone in hand, giving the condo a cursory glance. It's cute, smaller than I expected. It's 2 bedrooms, I reply, swallowing the defense rising in my throat. Perfect for me. I start the tour I've rehearsed, pointing out features I worked months of overtime to afford. The south-facing windows, the upgraded appliances. Dad nods absently. Did you see my latest post? Got 5,000 likes. Ashley interrupts, phone thrust forward. Activewear wants to extend my influencer contract. Mom and Dad immediately crowd around. Show us! Mom exclaims. That's my girl! Dad beams. I stand forgotten by my carefully selected kitchen backsplash. I got promoted to senior manager last week. I offer when there's a lull, hoping for a flicker of interest. 3 years instead of the usual 5. That's nice, dear, Mom says without looking up from Ashley's phone. Now, about Ashley's influencer collaboration. Weeks later, I'm at the dealership signing papers for my crossover. Not brand new, but new to me. The result of 3 years of diligent saving while driving a car held together primarily with hope and duct tape. The salesman hands me the keys. Congratulations, Ms. Miller. She's all yours. Pride swells in my chest as I run my hand along the sleek, silver exterior. I worked for this, every single dollar earned through early mornings and late nights. When my family arrives for Sunday dinner, I park it prominently in the driveway. Nice car, Dad says, giving it only a cursory glance before checking his email. It's the mid-range model, I explain. Good safety ratings, and I negotiated them down $3,000. Ashley circles it, her expression thoroughly unimpressed. Why work so hard? I'll just find a rich husband and get everything handed to me. My parents actually laugh, like she said something brilliant. That's our Ash, always thinking ahead, Mom says, squeezing Ashley's arm affectionately. I stand beside my car, fingers tightening around my keys as I force a smile. This moment of achievement, like all the others, simply dissolves into the background of Ashley's effortless dance. I stand in a cramped dressing room, watching as my sister twirls in her $25,000 wedding gown. The silk rustles like money-changing hands, diamonds catching the light at her throat. Just perfect. Our mother breathes, eyes glistening. Absolutely perfect. I adjust the bridesmaid dress they've selected, a pale peach shade that washes out my complexion completely, and a cut that does absolutely nothing for my figure. The price tag alone could cover my monthly condo payment. Chad's family has connections to everyone, Ashley emphasizes, examining her reflection from another angle, oblivious to my discomfort. This wedding is going to be featured in 3 different magazines, you know. Mom fusses with Ashley's train, spreading it out to maximize the dramatic effect across the plush carpet. Our daughter has truly made it, she murmurs, radiating pride. I catch my mother's gaze in the wide mirror as she looks over at me, her smile fixed. This is what real success looks like, Karen, she says, her voice honey-sweet but her eyes sharp as ever. Not everyone understands the value of making the right connections. I bite the inside of my cheek until I taste the faint, metallic tang of copper. Across the expensive boutique, I notice Chad's mother and sister exchange a subtle glance. It's quick, but I recognize it instantly, a flicker of concern masked carefully as polite interest. They see something, perhaps the hollowness beneath the sparkle that my own parents steadfastly refuse to acknowledge. I follow them inside the condo, the familiar weight settling heavily on my shoulders, the weight of being perpetually second best. 4 years later, I hear the news through a phone call from my sobbing mother. "He just left her, Karen!" Mom wails through the speaker. "Called her shallow and wasteful. Can you believe it? After everything she's done for him." I grip my phone tighter, thinking of the luxury vacations, the wardrobes of clothes with tags still attached, the sports cars traded in yearly. "What exactly happened?" I ask, keeping my voice neutral. "Chad stood at the door with his suitcases," Mom says, her voice cracking. "He told Ashley he couldn't support her endless spending anymore, that she never understood the value of a dollar or marriage. She tried to explain that she deserves nice things, but he just walked away." I stare at my own expense tracker app on my laptop screen, decades of careful decisions reflected in neat columns. "The divorce papers cite irreconcilable differences and financial irresponsibility." Mom spits the words like venom. "His lawyer is being absolutely ruthless about the prenup. She's getting practically nothing." The same day, my promotion email arrives, but alongside it, another email catches my eye. "Congratulations, Karen Miller," it reads. "You're the winner of our Paradise Getaway contest. Your entry showcasing innovative marketing strategies has earned you an all-expenses-paid trip to Hawaii, valued at $10,000. Excitement bubbles in my chest. For once, I have something extraordinary to share. I dial my parents. "Mom, Dad, you won't believe this. I won a $10,000 trip to Hawaii." "Oh, sweetie," Mom interrupts, her voice shifting instantly. "You should give that to Ashley. She needs to heal right now." The excitement freezes solid in my chest. "What?" "Your sister is devastated," Dad chimes in, his voice adopting that familiar, reasonable tone used to justify Ashley's needs. "A trip like that would really help her recover from this trauma. She hasn't had a vacation since the divorce." "It's not transferable," I say automatically, though I haven't even checked the fine print yet. "It's a professional achievement prize." "I'm sure you could work something out," Mom presses, relentless. "Your sister needs this more than you do right now. It's selfish to keep it for yourself." The familiar weight settles heavily on my shoulders, the crushing expectation that I'll fold, accommodate, sacrifice, just like always. But something different stirs beneath the weight this time, something sharp and unyielding that's been building through years of dimmed celebrations and diverted attention. No. The silence on the other end of the line stretches long enough that I almost check to see if the call dropped. "Excuse me?" Mom finally says, her voice laced with disbelief. "No?" I repeat, my own voice growing steady, surprising even myself. I earned this. I'm going... Karen Ann Miller. My father's voice hardens, a tone rarely directed at me. We are deeply disappointed in you, after everything we've done. What exactly have you done? The words escape before I can reconsider. When have you ever celebrated my achievements the way you celebrate Ashley just existing? I hear the front door open faintly in the background, followed by Ashley's voice asking what's happening. Your sister is being selfish, Mom explains loudly. She won a trip to Hawaii and refuses to give it to you. I turn my key in the lock, luggage heavy, craving my own bed after 15 hours of travel back from Hawaii. The trip was restorative, a brief escape, but the moment the door swings open, something is deeply wrong. Unfamiliar designer stilettos litter my meticulously organized entryway. An expensive silk blouse is thrown carelessly over my sofa. The air smells cloying, perfume masking something sour. Hello, I call out. The bathroom door opens. Ashley emerges, wrapped in my robe, hair dripping onto my clean floors. Oh, she says, barely glancing up from her phone. You're back. My throat tightens. What are you doing here? She shrugs, scrolling. Mom and Dad gave me a key. Needed somewhere to stay. They're on speaker, I realize, their voices tinny from the phone on my counter. Karen, don't make a fuss, Mom says. Your place was just sitting empty. My place wasn't empty, I retort. I was on the trip. A trip you should have given Ashley. Dad interrupts. A horrible thought grips me. My car. I need to check my car. I grab my keys, ignoring Ashley's eye roll and my parents calling after me, and rush out. The elevator seems to crawl. My hands shake as I punch the button for the parking garage. Space 247, where my crossover should be, is empty. Cold dread fills me. I dial my parents, pacing the concrete. Where is my car? I demand when Dad answers. Now, Karen, don't overreact, he begins. Where is my car? We sold it, he says, matter-of-factly. Ashley needed money. The world tilts. You sold my car? It was just a car, Karen, Mom adds. Family is more important. It was my car, I whispered, then louder. It was my car! I paid for it. My name was on the title. We'll discuss this when you've calmed down, my father said dismissively before hanging up. I stared at my phone, rage building like a physical force inside my chest, hot and sickening. Too restless for the elevator, I took the stairs back up, the sharp click of my shoes echoing my pounding heart on the concrete steps. Ashley was still lounging on my couch, scrolling through her phone as if nothing significant had occurred. Where's the money for my car? I demanded. She didn't even look up. I needed things. I spotted a bank statement on the counter. My parents' account. A recent withdrawal for $20,000. Next to it, receipts from designer boutiques and a new spa membership card bearing Ashley's name. My crossover, my independence, my hard work, all liquidated to fund Ashley's supposed healing. The front door opened, and my parents walked in without knocking, entitlement etched on their faces. You're being dramatic, my father started with a dismissive wave. You stole from me, I stated, my voice unnaturally calm, the anger clarifying into sharp focus. You sold property that wasn't yours. Family shares everything. My mother sighed predictably. Why are you always so selfish? That word. But the shame it usually instilled no longer took root. My hands were steady. Get out, I said, my voice ice cold. All of you, now. Ashley's face contorted. Fake tears sprang. We're your family, Mom pleaded. Not anymore. Get out before I call the police and report my car stolen. After they finally left, leaving the key, I immediately called a lawyer. The line had been crossed. I straightened my navy blazer, checking my reflection in the courthouse bathroom mirror. My hands were steady, a welcome change. Stepping into the wide marble hallway, I saw them huddled together. Mom's puffy eyes, Dad's slumped shoulders beneath his worn suit jacket, Ashley slightly apart, scrolling disinterestedly on her phone. Karen, sweetheart. Mom rushed forward, arms outstretched. We can still fix this. Dad stepped closer, voice low. Think about our reputation. Is this what you want? I felt the old, familiar pressure building, but Ashley's hiss, You're destroying our family over a stupid car, snapped everything into sharp clarity. This stopped being about the car the moment you felt entitled to take what wasn't yours, I stated calmly, walking past them with my attorney into the courtroom. Inside, Judge Carwell's glasses reflected the projection screen as my attorney displayed the evidence, the car title solely in my name, the bank statement showing the $20,000 withdrawal the day after the unauthorized sale, screenshots of Ashley's subsequent spa days, and designer purchases captioned number healing and number self-care. My father shifted uncomfortably. Mom stared fixedly at her hands. Their lawyer offered only weak rebuttals about family misunderstandings that withered under the documented facts. The judge's expression grew increasingly troubled. This is a clear case of unauthorized sale of property and financial exploitation, he finally stated, removing his glasses. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Karen Miller. The words hung, heavy, and final. The defendants are ordered to pay $20,000 for the value of the vehicle, plus $10,000 in damages and all legal fees. Dad's sharp intake of breath was audible. Mom leaned over, whispering loudly enough for me to hear. We'll lose the house where they celebrated Ashley while I faded into the background. I felt hollow, not from regret, but from the stark realization that justice doesn't heal wounds. It simply stops the bleeding. 3 weeks later, I drove past my childhood home. The "For Sale" sign swung gently. A moving truck sat in the driveway. Through the open garage, I glimpsed Ashley carrying a box, her face tight with an unfamiliar emotion. Reality. I didn't slow down. My new crossover, nicer than the one they sold, carried me forward. Back in Chicago, I traced my fingers over the engraved nameplate on my office door. Director of Marketing, Karen Miller. Executives now sought my opinion. I signed the final papers for my lake house investment property, a calculated decision, a symbol of freedom, earned. Laughter filled my condo later that evening as friends crowded around my dining table, celebrating my wins without jealousy, asking about my dreams without redirecting. To Karen, Marcos toasted, who taught us all what real strength looks like. Warmth spread through my chest. At a restaurant one night, I saw them, my parents and Ashley, looking smaller somehow. Our eyes met briefly across the room. I felt nothing but calm detachment, returning to my meal. I now offered guidance to junior colleagues like Emily, sharing hard-won wisdom. Setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's necessary. Spreading travel brochures across my coffee table, Greece, New Zealand. I planned solo adventures. In my journal I wrote, "The family I choose will be the one I deserve." The apartment was quiet, but the silence no longer felt empty. It felt like mine, steady and free. My journey, as you've seen, wasn't just about reclaiming property or winning in court. It became a profound process of reclaiming my self-worth and learning to bravely redraw essential boundaries that I had let blur for far too long. I share this because I know my story resonates with experiences many face today that struggle to have your voice heard, your efforts acknowledged, especially within the relationships you hold closest. It was a powerful, painful reminder for me that genuine love doesn't mean blind sacrifice or enabling harmful behavior, even from family. Sometimes I realized the strongest act of self-love is making that difficult choice, the one that protects your well-being and respects your own intrinsic value. Have you ever felt your accomplishments were overlooked, the way mine were? Have you wrestled with setting healthy boundaries, perhaps fearing the disappointment or conflict it might cause? Your experiences absolutely matter. Sharing them, if you feel comfortable, can be incredibly validating. Please share your thoughts or related experiences in the comments below. Your unique story could be a source of strength for someone else going through something similar. Don't forget to follow or subscribe to join this community for more meaningful stories and powerful life lessons.